All right, Shane, let's get to the night action here. Oklahoma on the road, Shane, at mighty Tennessee. Them Vols is favored by 3.5 points. The over-under's 55.5 total points. 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central, nationally televised on ABC. Who do you like in this one?
Oh, man, this is going to be a great game, Mike. It's going to be a great game. Not just because I'm going to be there enjoying the concessions and the cold brewskis. It's going to be a great game because these are two really good football teams on one specific side of the football. I think about this, one of the best offenses going against one of the greatest defense, and I don't think that should be the story. It should be the opposite. How does Tennessee's defense corral Oklahoma's shitty offense? That's kind of what I feel like this game's going to be about, is mistakes. Who makes them? Who doesn't make them? Who capitalizes on them? And, I think about Oklahoma here the last 3 weeks, Mike. They're 1-2, right? And if you look at the two losses, what is the common factor? Turnovers, interceptions in the first one, the punt fumble on the second one, just stupid mistakes. Even the Red River with the kickoff return or punt return or whatever it was. I just feel like it's just small little mistakes throughout the game. Tennessee makes those, but they have one of the most prolific offenses in the country, and they make up those mistakes by scoring in 3 plays. And they have that capability, right?
Yeah.
This is going to be such a good football game. I cannot wait to see the Cousins at this one. And I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't feel good about this one until I saw a little video today. And it took me back to 2015. You remember that?
Yeah, I was there.
Baker Mayfield came in here and became the greatest quarterback in the country, right? But what you don't watch in those little highlight reels is Tennessee screwed up, right? They messed up. So do they do it 2 times in a row? I think not. It's a blackout. We're going to a funeral, baby. Give me Tennessee 31, Oklahoma 30, Morristown Honda.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I feel like this is going to be one of those games that either Tennessee jumps on them early and then we slowly watch Oklahoma get back into it, or Tennessee tries to play catch up and maybe gets close, maybe even falls short. But I just feel like it's going to be one way or the other. One team's playing catch up here.
Yeah. Hey, shout out Vala Nahara. Okay, hopefully I didn't butcher that. I was at the Oklahoma Ole Miss game and saw our cheeks get clapped. No confidence in this one. Cheeks may be rosy red on Saturday.
I do worry about injuries. Oklahoma bringing some injuries into this one.
Yeah, and like I was saying, Shane, this ain't Kentucky, my Kentucky defense in this one. I don't think Oklahoma is going to get tormented over the top. I think they're going to make Tennessee nickel and dime them up and down the field. Now, Tennessee is capable. Deshaun Bishop, Star Thomas, Peyton Lewis. I think those guys got to hit at least combined 150 rushing yards if Tennessee's going to get a win in this ball game. It's a night mode or a dark mode.
Yeah,
night game. It's it's going to be hype. It's going to be exciting. This really is a playoff eliminator, I think, for both of these teams. Obviously, at both 6-2. Could Oklahoma get there at 9-3? Perhaps, but unlikely. We talked about that on the last one. They'd have to run the table and look damn impressive doing it to be even in consideration. Tennessee, with their schedule, I don't think they're in any consideration at 9-3 to make the college football playoff. But the biggest thing for me, you talk about mistakes. It's this man right here, Shane. This man right here, Muddy Mateer. He's making them here lately, right?
Yeah.
He's inaccurate. He's not seeing the field too well, and he's not blaming the injury, which I'm going to give him credit for. But I think it's kind of obvious it's the injury.
Yeah.
And he's not running the football either. So is he scared to take hits? I don't know. Maybe he's just, I truly don't know. And he's putting it on himself. I like that. But hell, even Brett Venables is putting it on his ass. Brett Venables will call out his quarterback. He won't even call out the quarterback that left, Jackson Arnold, but he'll call his own quarterback out, which is pretty interesting. Meanwhile, on Tennessee side, Shane, God, yeah, and I have defended this man But can we bring back Tim Banks if his defense doesn't get any better? If Oklahoma comes in here and whoops Tennessee's ass, like what if Money Mateer looks like Baker Mayfield 2.0 on Saturday? Yeah. I'm not saying they fire the coordinator overnight, but I would wager he's not going to be coming back next season if that's the case. So, man, there's a lot going into this one. I am concerned about Tennessee's defense. Obviously, I'm very concerned about Oklahoma's offense. Not concerned at all about Oklahoma's defense. Not concerned about Tennessee's offense. And here's a big key to the game, Shane.
Yeah.
As good as Oklahoma is on defense, they've only forced 4 turnovers. That's 132nd in the country. That's awful. Awful. So they've got to force a turnover if they have any shot to win this ball game, Shane. But what is one thing we know about Josh Heupel and them Tennessee Vols in Neyland Stadium, Shane? They don't lose, particularly at night. So give me Tennessee 27, Oklahoma 30. Oklahoma goes into Neyland Stadium, spanks Tennessee, eliminates them. Josh Heupel, you wish you were Oklahoma's coach. You'll never be Oklahoma's coach. We fired your ass. Get the hell out of here, and we're going to fire you from the playoffs on Saturday night with Homer Simpson in attendance over here.
Doe. You evil bastard. You just say what we all think, and that's the only thing I'm concerned. Maybe it's the battered Vol syndrome in me, It's just, what if Mateer gets confidence? That's the thing. Just John Mateer, since that thumb surgery, he's been all out of whack. And can Tim Banks create enough? Obviously, straight up, I don't know if they're going to get pressure on him, but maybe they can orchestrate something. Maybe they can be exotic with their blitz packages here, because I would rather put the pressure on John to win this game with his arm. That's the Sooner magic, Right. But I'm always afraid, man, that they come out here with a 15-play drive and Tennessee fans are mad and quiet. We've got to stay on them, jump on them early, and I hope I'll say this, Mike. Tennessee wins the coin toss. They better ask for the ball and pray to God they score on that first possession. Because if they do and they open this thing up, then I feel like Tennessee can win. But this is going to be back and forth. It's going to be a good football game, man.
Hey, who was it? Ashley Schaefer. He said, man, really embracing the Kentucky persona. All right, Steven, how about this matchup here? We got 2 more. Night game on old Rocky Top, Steven. Oklahoma on the road at Tennessee. Both these teams fighting for their playoff lives. The Vols favored by 3.5 points. The over-under's 56.5 total points. 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central on ABC. What do you like in this one?
Mike, I think the first thing that comes to my mind here is what the stakes are for both teams. You've got 2 teams at 6-2 vying to be in the playoff. They both desperately need a victory to stay alive. Maybe you could talk yourself into Oklahoma at 9-3, depending on how the rest of the season goes. But I think you want to be 10-2. So the loser of this game is probably eliminated. I think the matchup that we all want to see on Saturday night has got to be strength on strength. It is Tennessee's offense against that Oklahoma defense. Tennessee is 7th in the country in offensive success rate. Oklahoma is number 1 in the country in defensive success rate. Still number 1 after the Ole Miss game. So when I look at this matchup, I go, how does Tennessee's offensive line hold up? Because we know Oklahoma's defense is going to get pressure. But if Tennessee can, I think there are plays to be made against the secondary for Oklahoma. 315 passing yards to Ole Miss last week. Aguilar and these receivers, we saw the performance they had against Kentucky. Yes, Kentucky is bad. But at home, if Tennessee can hit some plays with some tempo, they got a chance to sort of move quickly and neutralize maybe the pass rush and hit some of those big plays in the passing game. So how Tennessee holds up in the trenches, are they hitting some of those big plays? It's good on good. Those are all things that are on my mind when Tennessee's offense is on the field. The other side of the ball, Can Tennessee's defense get a stop against an offense that really can't get anything going consistently? It is a fascinating matchup of question mark versus question mark. And thinking about Tennessee's defense, they do one thing pretty well, which is they're pretty good at getting pressure. And Oklahoma's offensive front hasn't been great this year. So I wonder, can Oklahoma generate a running game? Robinson, Blaylock. I think you need John Mateer to be involved as a runner, but he's also got to be better as a passer. I think given that Tennessee has allowed at least 30 points in every SEC game this season, I think Oklahoma's got to find some success, right? But I think what we might see in this game is I think both offenses are going to trade punches here. It would not surprise me if a turnover, if a red zone stop, if you're trading 3 points for 7, ultimately decides this game, because desperation ought to be pretty heavy on Saturday night for both teams. Oklahoma is also -6 in turnover margin. That seems like it's a problem potentially against Tennessee. Mike, since 2021, Tennessee has lost at home 4 times. Georgia, and Ole Miss. Basically, since that Ole Miss game, they've lost 4 times since that Ole Miss game. And of course,
And Ole Miss cheated.
Right,
I was there.
I was gonna say you were there. So since that Ole Miss game, it has been just Georgia. Tennessee's not going to lose this game, right? They're at home. Joey Aguilar, some fireworks, and our friends over at Tennessee Legends as Joey Aguilar continues to pace the SEC in passing this year. Mike, give me the balls at home Saturday night, 30-27. I think Tennessee's offense gets it done. Tennessee's defense does just enough to get the ball back to Aguilar, and home field advantage is why I like the Vols here.
Wow. So even though you're going with Tennessee, very close game here. And you did hit on this, so I want to credit you. But when you mentioned the turnovers, it is interesting, isn't it, that Oklahoma's, as good as they are on defense, are not forcing the turnovers, while Tennessee, as bad as they are on defense, that they are forcing the turnovers. It's just kind of weird how that works. But also Tennessee, I believe, number 1 in the country, Steven, in defensive touchdowns. So again, those, when you're that bad on defense, you make up for it slightly when you're scoring touchdowns and getting the turnovers. So yeah, I mean, if that trend continues, I think you've nailed it. I think Tennessee will win. Now, if Oklahoma gets a turnover or 2, which they haven't, I think they've only gotten 4 on the year. I could be off by 1 or 2 on that number, but if they can get a turnover or 2, I think they're winning this game. So, yeah, I'm split. I'm split on this one.
I think if I'm Tennessee, I think winning early downs is important on defense, because I want to make Oklahoma try to win from 3rd and 8, 10. I can. It's also like, can they convert consistently? And also, can Tennessee's pass rush is probably going to win a lot of those battles, especially at home. Like, if Tennessee gets the crowd into it, it's a night game. I mean, of course, there's a lot at stake here with the Josh Heupel Bowl, with that, and what's at stake with this season for Tennessee. It feels like the crowd could really be an X factor here for Tennessee. No surprise with a night game up in Knoxville. But if a turnover or 2, if you're Oklahoma and you're -2, and we saw this last week where Tennessee scored a defensive touchdown, they forced a turnover, they got the ball right back to the offense, and you blinked and it was 28-7. That's kind of the avalanche that a lot of these teams that can really run tempo and high power passing games, if you get into one of those situations where you start having things spiral, they can really spiral out of control. So I think for Oklahoma, a good start, take the crowd out of it, try to manage those long yardage situations and win the turnover battle. And there's a path to get a victory here.
Yeah. Do you think Oklahoma can win a game trying to make Tennessee one-dimensional? Because that's essentially what Kentucky tried to do last week, and they got smoked. But we know Oklahoma's got a lot better defense than Kentucky. Like, let's say Oklahoma says, we're taking away the run game. Like, do they match up better than Kentucky did?
I think they do. I think especially up front, because I think you could, in that kind of a scenario, I think you could see maybe their defensive front being a little bit more consistent with the pressure. maybe how they defend Tennessee's passing game. Like if they're winning with just 3 or 4 guys, they can devote more to coverage. They can stop the run, gets Tennessee long yardage. Yeah, I could see that. So I think Oklahoma is I know it's sort of Captain Obvious. They are a much, much tougher matchup for Tennessee than Kentucky. And I think that's why I think they got a chance to win this game.
And then one other thing I wanted to ask you, because Oklahoma now has lost twice, and so people are seeing cracks in the defense. But what I see, Steven, is they have, as all defenses, they have struggled a little bit with a running quarterback. Trinidad, Arch had some runs in that one. Now they were able to, of course, to corral Sellers and Underwood, and Jackson Arnold still in the ice bath after what Oklahoma did to him. But point being, I think it's much more. I mean, it's obvious, but it's much more difficult to guard against a team with a running threat at quarterback. And as good as Joey Aguilar's been, I don't see that in his game. That concerns me for Tennessee going into this matchup, that you're essentially playing 10 on 11 against Oklahoma's defense. I think that is a mismatch that favors Oklahoma.
Or is this the game where Aguilar breaks out the rushing we saw at App State, where he had like over 200 yards last season, and also I think it was over 200 in 2023. Not saying he's as mobile as Chambliss, but I think he's not a statue back there, and that would maybe give me some confidence, maybe if I'm Tennessee. So I think there's going to be a lot of focus on Brazel and Matthews and Staley and certainly Aguilar because of the game last week. But it's almost like, how does Tennessee block our Mason Thomas and those those Oklahoma defensive tackles is probably a little bit of an underrated storyline here.
Mm-hmm. All right.